So how do we begin with this problem? This is the aggregate planning problem, chapter 13, beginning with problem 3. Let's begin with just looking at the different terms in the problem. So we have the month for each plan. We have the demand. That's how much we anticipate customers will want to take away. Let's just imagine that we're selling a pen, a writing instrument, and this is the demand for each month. Then we have the production that we're forecasted for each month. So this is how many we're actually going to be producing during the month. Then we have a beginning inventory, which means at the beginning of the month, this amount is available for sale. So in January we have 200, which is, if we click on our on the cell there, we see that that's comes from the previous month's, December's ending inventory. So however much we had at December 31st, guess what? On January 1st, we've got that much available. So we add these two together, 1,600 and 200. That means 1,800 are available to sell to customers. The customers we predict are only going to take 400. So 1,800 minus 400. At the end of the month, we're going to have 400 left over. So that's where our ending inventory comes from. And we create an if statement to calculate that. And an if statement has a logical test. So the logical test is that the combination of production and beginning inventory minus the demand is going out, will be greater than or equal to 0. If that's true, then we just put down that total of production plus beginning inventory minus demand. If that's not true, that would end up with a negative number, and we'll put 0. Now, how would we deal with it if it turns out to be a negative number? You're going to end up dealing with that over here in the stockouts, and we'll talk. We can deal with that a little bit later. But you're going to have to create something over here, another if statement to calculate stockouts, and that would basically be if this turns negative. If this would be negative, then we'll put a positive stockout over here. So the average inventory is simply the average of the beginning and ending inventory for the month. In this particular problem, we're not going to use any overtime. We're not going to use any subcontract, but we will be doing stockouts. So basically, if we're short anything, so look here in month of May, demand is 2,200, production is 1,800. We'll be short 400. So that'll just turn into a stockout. So you need to think about, how am I going to create an if statement which will give me appropriate stockout expressed as a positive number when it happens, and 0 all the other times. And then we have hiring and laying off. So what are we going to do here? Well, in hiring and laying off, we're looking at what happens in column C. What happens to our production level? If our production level stays the same as it does from December to January, we don't hire anybody in January. If production goes down from 1,600 to 1,400 as it does in February, then we have a layoff of 200. This is not really 200 people, it's 200 units, 200 pens worth of labor. In March, we went from 1,400 in February to 1,600, so we'd have a higher 200 in March. And in April, we went from 1,600 to 1,800, so we'd hire 200 there. So that's going to come, you're going to need to calculate that over here. So you need to think about, how do I do this? And it looks like another set of if statements. So I've shown you sort of the model of an if statement back here at the ending inventory. And so if one situation is true, then I put in that true value, and if it's not true, I put in what happens if it's not true. So the logical test, the true value, the false value, are in our if statements. That's the essence, and of course in each case you're summing the cost here and multiplying that times the cost over here in your cost table, and that's essentially plan A with you still having to figure out how to hire and lay off. More in the next slide.